this is Susan with Blended Insight, and I'm so excited to let you know that I have launched a podcast on iTunes. My very first episode is how to stay positive when you are around negative people and environments. I went ahead and posted it here just to give you a little sample, but please go to the iTunes store and download it so that you can be informed of future episodes. And as always, thank you so very much for all of your love and support. I'm sending it right back to you. Welcome to the Blended Insight Podcast. Hello, bright souls. This is Susan from Blended Insight, and thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. For those of you that don't know me, I am an energy healer, an intuitive, and an integrative wellness practitioner. And all that really means is that I just love to learn, grow, develop, and evolve, and then take everything that I've learned and serve with it. Share what I've learned so that we can help each other along the way because we're all in this together. So for today's podcast, I would love to share with you ways to keep your spirits high and to keep your energy field clear when you are around negative people and negative environments. This is a really testy time right now. There's a lot of conflict going on in the world, and sometimes we find it difficult to just keep ourselves happy and positive. Back in 2015, I did a free class on Learn It Live called Staying Positive Around Negative Energy. I will leave a link to that class in the show notes. Again, it's 100% free. But the reason I'm referencing that is because I'm going to pull a couple of things from that class. But if you want more information on each of the topics and you have the time, go to the class and get that for free. And then I'm going to share some other ways to keep ourselves positive when we're around negative environments and people. So what I'd like to go over is why people are negative, the difference between venting and complaining, because I know for many of us, we get full sometimes and we vent, and then we start getting really hard on ourselves, wondering if we're the ones that are the complainers. Are we the negative ones? We're going to talk about it. Then I'm going to talk about why your positive attitude seems to make some people target you almost. It makes it worse. They get even more angry at you, no matter how nice you try to be. We're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you some diffusing techniques that you can use right here and now as you go through your day to help you. Then we're going to give some energetic techniques that you can use. And we will close the podcast with some shielding exercises. And I will infuse that with energy healing. So you'll get a little bit of an energy healing here at the end of this podcast. So let's first talk about why people are negative. Negative people are upset because they feel as though they are part of a system that they are powerless to change. Negative people feel powerless. That is why they're just grumpy. Because if you're part of something where you feel like you can't control it and you don't like it, some people just give up. They throw in the towel and they just become stubborn, angry, and their new state of being is grumpy. And the reason I'm sharing that is because I'm trying to give you a little bit of awareness that can hopefully develop some compassion. They're not trying to make your life miserable. It's just that they're miserable and they have no power, so they just lash out like children. And it isn't anything that you're doing. It's them. It's their own feeling of powerlessness. Those of us that are on a path of enlightenment who genuinely want to be the best versions of ourselves, we know that even when circumstances are out of your control, you can control the way you feel about it, the way you respond to it. We know that. But they don't want to receive that. And so you walking up to them and trying to give them all of this empowered thought is going to agitate them, and we'll talk about why. The next thing I want to talk about is the difference between venting and complaining. Now, I've been guilty of this, getting really upset about a situation and just feeling like I'm going to explode and venting about it. The difference between a venter and a complainer is that once you blow off that steam, a lot of us have Instant Pots now, and when you flip that valve, that little pressure valve, and all of the steam goes out and then it loses its momentum, the steam is gone, you're like, okay, you're good. It's sort of like a pressure cooker. You let off the steam, you blow it out, it gets transmuted into the universe and you're done with it and you let it go. That's venting. A complainer lives in that space. So it's repetitive. You can have some complainers that they're stuck on something that happened decades ago and they still talk about it like it happened yesterday. And it's very frustrating for those of us that want to keep it moving and create new experiences, go out, live, develop, grow, evolve, serve others. I get it. It's frustrating, but everyone has different stages of development. Everyone is going to get on their path at a different spot and they're going to take a different route. I know it's difficult to have compassion when you feel like they're dragging you down, but we're going to try to look at things from a different perspective, shift our awareness a little bit so that we can stay in our vibration and not be yanked down. Okay, so venting and complaining, there's a difference. So if you vent sometimes, give yourself a break, release that energy, let it be transmuted, and move on. The next thing I want to talk about is why your positivity makes people that are negative even worse. And I've experienced this in my own life. It's like, no matter how positive and nice you try to be, it just seems they get even more vicious. And here's the reason why. In my class, Staying Positive Around Negative Energy, I referenced an emotional tone scale chart. Now, you can just go on the internet and look up vibrational tone scale or emotional tone scale. I even shared one on my Instagram page last week, I think. But I'm going to give you just an example. So let's rate emotions level 1 through 20. If you are at a number 5, which is optimism, and you are trying to communicate with someone who is at a level 17, which is anger, 1 being the highest vibration, 20 being the lowest, you can only access a few levels of a vibration above and below you at one time. So if you're at a 5 and another person is at a 17, you moving up a few or moving down a few, and that person moving up a few and moving down a few, still doesn't put you in the vicinity of being able to communicate with one another. You are on complete opposite vibrational scales. Therefore, you're not speaking the same language, and your aura is typically brighter and bigger when you're at a higher level, emotional level. That bright aura is bumping up against someone that is in a lower vibration, and it agitates them. They don't want to come to your level, and you don't want to go down to their level. So it literally just makes everything worse. So what do you do when you have to deal with this person and you can feel yourself dreading the interaction and you can feel yourself bracing because you just know that this person is going to upset you in some way or pull you down, especially if you're energetically sensitive? Here are some practical tools that you can do. I believe that spirituality must be carried out in practicality. So I like to do both. We live in a physical body, so we need physical tools. And we want to develop ourselves spiritually because we are souls living in a human body. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, but we have to do both. We have to have a human experience and a spiritual experience. That's my approach. If you don't agree with that, that's okay. Find what works for you. So here are some quick diffusing techniques that I've learned and that seem to work. The first thing is something I learned maybe 12, 13 years ago. It's called accentuate the positive, but it's not what you think. People that are really upset and they just want to complain and they're just perpetually negative, they like to just hear themselves complain. So what you're going to do is you're going to listen to anything that even remotely resembles positivity. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say it's a coworker of yours. So you're sitting at your desk, minding your own business in your happy place, and they come up and let's just say they're enjoying some coffee and they come up and they start complaining. And maybe they say, okay, well, I got to work at 6:30. Maybe that's the time they're supposed to get to work. And as soon as I got here, I opened my email and such emailed me this, and they start complaining. You're going to let them finish. Don't interrupt, because you're going to add to the conflict if you join them in that vibration. So you're just going to patiently listen. You're going to cross your arms and cross your legs to block you from receiving their energy. That's something I'll talk about a little bit later. And then when they're done talking, you're just going to say, well, hey, at least you got here at 6:30 on time. That's the only thing resembling a neutral or positive comment that they said. You have to use their words back to them, because if you try to use your words that's out of their vibration, it's going to sink them lower and make them angry. So you've got to use their words. So it kind of makes things a little bit more enjoyable. I know that sounds terrible, but it gives you something to listen for, because the negativity just tends to, for me personally, I just zone out. I'm not even listening anymore because I can't. And especially if it's something repetitive that they tend to complain about day after day after day. So listen for something neutral or remotely positive and then use it back to them. And what happens is after you've done this 1 or 2 times, they don't want to talk to you anymore because you're not feeding into what it is that they're wanting to fuel. You're not participating. And drama loves conflict, and drama loves drama. And if you're not playing the drama, you're not contributing any, then you're no fun, and they'll move on. This next technique is for you while you are in the presence of someone that tends to bring you down. What you are going to do is, while they are talking, you are going to use non-committal statements. Okay? So don't argue with them. Let's just say, like, I have a person in my life that remembers things differently than the way that I remember them. Okay? So this person will start talking about a past event, and I wonder, was that person there? Because I don't remember it happening that way. And I'm confused when they're talking, and I start to get agitated because that is not the way I remember it. But if I argue with them, it just makes it worse. So instead of arguing, I use non-committal statements such as, I see. Okay. All right. You see how that is a neutral, non-committal statement? I'm not agreeing. I'm not disagreeing. And I just let them go. Now, while they are talking, to prevent myself from getting ultra upset, I will begin to send them love. And I know that's hard. You don't have to send love. I'm going to give you some other techniques of focusing on positive things. But what I will do is I will just start to notice myself sending pink or gold or white or blue energy from my heart to their heart. That helps. And then the other thing that I will do is I will just pick out anything that I can possibly think of good of that person, and I'll focus on it. So while they are sharing, and I'll do this sometimes before I even interact with them. If I know that I'm going to meet up with that person and I'm already dreading it, I'll start thinking, okay, maybe that person is a beautiful friend to other people, maybe not to you, but you've seen that person be super compassionate to a pet, or you know that that person really loves gardening and you appreciate how well that person takes care of plants. Maybe that person is a really hard worker. You find something that you know about that person that you appreciate, that you respect, and you focus on that. And you just marinate on that. Oh, that person is such a beautiful gardener. I really appreciate the way that person contributes to Mother Nature through the gardening. Or maybe when you're in front of the person, maybe you think, this person really has nice eyes. I really appreciate the way that they take care of themselves. I mean, you've got to really get good at just being a detective and finding that one thing and lock in on it. And what you'll notice is that you yourself will begin to relax and you will start to soften. You'll develop some compassion, because it's very difficult to have an exchange with a person when you're just completely guarded, locked up, irritated. And I'm speaking from experience here. So try these things. They really do work. Now I'm going to give you some energetic techniques. Anyone can do these energetic techniques. You don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be a Reiki healer. Anyone can do this, and that is why I'm sharing it. So the very first thing you can do is, when you are in the presence of someone who is just negative or they're upset with you, cross your arms and legs. What this does is it prevents the energy from locking into your energy field. I know that seems weird. I know it might seem a little bit out there, but I can see energy. That's part of my intuitive gift. And hey, I walked in a normal capacity. I'm a veteran. I served 12 and a half years in the military, and then I went on to work for the military. And I'd love to bring these tools to people that wouldn't normally be exposed to it. That's one of the things that I've been most grateful about, is that I understand that this stuff seems really weird. I know it does. But I've been able to walk both sides, and I can tell you that it does work. So just keep an open mind. Try it. If it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go. But if it resonates, give these things a try. The next thing you can do is a technique that I learned several years ago from Carol Tuttle. It's called zipping up your energy field. So what you're going to do is you are going to put yourself in a cocoon almost. You are going to imagine that you are inside a bubble or a cocoon. And you are going to imagine that you have a big zipper. So you can even do it at the bottom of your feet. So just imagine that you bend down to the bottom of your feet and you have all of your goodness, all of your good energy inside this cocoon or this bubble. And you literally do the motion of zipping it up all the way up past the top of your head. So you've zipped up your energy field. And children really like this one. It's easy for them to remember, and you're zipping up your energy field. So you just remember to do it. The other thing that you can do when a person is talking to you and they are just spouting off all of the negativity is you can just create a high vibrational mantra that you repeat to yourself. So one of the words that I like to do is just silently repeat to myself, love, love, love. And it really helps me to stay centered and not get so agitated. So now we've reached the time in the podcast where we are going to do a shielding technique. And I'm going to run some energy healing. So I'm going to turn the energy healing on. And what I would like you to do is uncross your arms and legs and just relax and receive. And we are going to create a shield while I am running energy healing on you. And I'm going to assist you energetically with the shield. So what I would like you to do is just imagine that you are being engulfed in a beautiful, brilliant, shimmering light. The light can be any color of your choice. You can choose white, gold, pink, green, blue, whatever feels good to you. So just imagine that the light is completely engulfing you, all around you, sinking into every cell, every pore. And the light begins to spin around you. And as it spins, any debris in your energy field just spins out and dissolves. Spins out and dissolves. And then the light just begins to draw in closer to you. And it begins to form a protective shield around you. And I am running energy healing to strengthen this shield. And just imagine that you are grounded into the earth. You can even imagine tree roots coming from the bottom of your feet into the earth, going down deep, deep, deep into Mother Earth. You feel grounded, secure, safe, and protected. And so it is. Okay, everyone, I hope that helps. Now you are grounded, you are shielded. You are ready to go out and seize your day, staying positive, uplifted, and protected. If you have podcast topics that you would like me to discuss, you can shoot me an email at susan@blendedinsight.com. You can also go to my website and send me an email there. I will post a link to my YouTube channel where I have lots of free healings and free meditations to support you on your path. Thank you again, and I hope you have an amazing day.